In this episode, we're going to cover a major change to the game that went into place. It was announced yesterday and went in as a hotfix, escalated into the downtime today. And after that, we're going to cover a user comment which goes over and explains why maybe your account is placing higher than it previously had in the past. If any of this sounds interesting to you, please stand by. Hey, all you Splinterheads, welcome back. Bronze Dragon here, saying thanks for dropping by. I appreciate your time. Well, if I said that it's been a interesting week in Splinterlands, that would be the understatement of the year. With all the major changes that have been going into the game, we knew that things were going to need adjusting, right? So with that said, the major, how the reward shop changed in the last week, immediately I saw, in my opinion, my benefit or what I'm getting out of the game went way down. Okay. But I saw that my season ending loot for Glint was going to be pretty high. So I looked forward to that. In my case, I was in Diamond 2, Diamond 1. I'm in Diamond 1 now. And it was showing about 150 to 160,000 end of season loot. So obviously I was looking forward to that. It was still down from what I previously had been drawing off of this account. But with that said, I figured, well, that's it. And I didn't think a whole lot past that, other than the fact that, I'm playing in Wild. There was a lot of discussion back and forth, especially about the higher end people playing Modern. As far as I know, the matches are about the same, but a lot of people are reporting it's just really hard to play in Modern. If you've got a maxed out deck and you're a pretty decent player, you can make some good rewards at this point in time, right? Either way, yesterday in Discord, Matt dropped a small announcement that said that the end of season loot was going to change. And the announcement was there wasn't much to it. It just said that the end of season loot was going to match what you made during the season as far as Glint goes. And there was a lot of discussion in Discord yesterday. I watched as I was working for several hours, people going back and forth, and Royal Eagle discussing it with generally people that are on the top or higher end of the game, and going back and forth and discussing it. At that point in time, I didn't really want to do a video last night because I didn't have any hard facts as far as what the specifics were as far as the changes. Well, this morning, right before, and the changes, they weren't really impending, right? So I didn't feel the urge to go ahead and get it out there. Well, today, right before the downtime somewhat, Matt went ahead and posted a longer post in Discord explaining what the changes were going to be and that they had been expedited and were going to go into this patch downtime. So let's go ahead and take a look at it. It is relatively long, but I feel that it's important because it affects us all, right? I think we're all, from the discussion I've seen, the people on the top end are loving this new method of playing, and the people that are stuck in bronze, silver, in Modern are kind of beating their heads against the wall trying to make wins. And there's a lot of people that are just bailing out of Modern and just going back to Wild. And we'll get into that in that discussion about how Wild's being affected, that you can see a large amount of what appears to be low-end bots that are running on accounts with relatively low BCX cards and or just the soul-bound cards or what have you. So that's affecting everyone. We'll take a look at that in a minute. But let's look at Matt's post from earlier. He says, I wanted to take a moment to let everyone know about a last-minute change that is going out in today's update. The formula for the end-of-season Glint reward is going to be changed to be based on the amount of Glint that you earned in total during the season rather than your rating at the end of season. By basing the end of season glint rewards on rating, it means that players with little to no cards or staking SPS in their account would be able to potentially earn significant amounts of glint every season. I believe this would have been a serious problem that needs to be addressed before the end of the current ranked play system, which is why we are pushing this out as a short notice or an emergency fix. So basically, like what I was saying, the low BCX, the bot accounts that have relatively not a whole lot staked in the game, very little SPS staked, and very little bought cards on the account and stuff like that. Due to them being ranked higher, they were going to reap and continue to reap a lot more glint than maybe than Matt and the team figured that those accounts were valued at or should get, and that would extrapolate out as time goes along and just get worse and affect the economy as time went on. So that's the reason right up front. Now, secondary to that, did I want that first big payout? Sure. Do I generally think that big changes should occur, in a time period where they're not rushed? In other words, let the season in, or let the patch happen, have your season, and then the next, do it right after that season. Yeah, I think that's logical. But in this case, I can see where they probably looked at the numbers and saw how much of a detrimental effect it was going to have on the infrastructure, or not infrastructure, but the economy overall with all these bots, which were maybe had an artificially inflated level. So anyway, that's why they went ahead and rushed it into this first season under the new shop, right? Okay. After the update, the amount of glint that players will receive at the end of the season will be equal to 2 times the total amount the player earned during the season. So effectively, the glint won for each battle will count 3 times. Once paid out right away and twice received at season end. This will ideally encourage players to get more cards, stake more SPS, play in modern format, and possibly purchase more energy in order to increase their glint earnings as much as possible from battles, rather than to just stop when they reach a high rating and collect an outsized reward at season end. So this is something we talked about on my last live stream. This is something that I believe in my circle of people I communicate with regularly. I think that Gathering the Magic brought this up first on one of his videos, or when we were discussing on the live stream. I think he brought up the fact that under this previous system, when it went live, that it would behoove a person to go ahead and level up as high as they can, and then when they get to as high as they think they're going to get, stop playing, right? So that you can preserve that end of season reward, right? Well, Matt has said it time and time again. That's exactly opposite what he has seen for the game. What he wants people to keep playing. He wants there to be no reason for you to stop playing, stop buying cards, stop staking SPS, etc. So that's a second reason. So the takeaway there is you're going to get basically whatever you earn times 3, right? So you're getting the first part of that when you actually win the match, right? And the other 2 times of that first part is going to get at the end of the season, okay? Now, lastly, we understand that some players will end up receiving less glint than they would have previously at the end of the season as a result of this change, me included majorly, though many will get more, probably those guys on the top end as usual, right? And I sincerely apologize for the oversight in the original design. We're still reviewing all of the data and feedback and are planning to make additional changes to the glint system and reward shop items in the near future, as discussed in the announcement post above from last week. We went over that last week. Like I've mentioned in previous town halls, major changes like this are expected to be chaotic at first and will take a number of seasons of review and adjustment before they settle in. But I believe that this is a necessary process towards building a system that properly aligns incentives with rewards for long-term sustainable growth. I'm looking forward to discussing this and more on the upcoming town hall this Thursday, April 11th at 11 a.m. Eastern Time, or 1500 UTC. Okay, so that's a lot to take in, but basically your end of season probably in most cases went down. Once again, when I step back, I can see that he's probably right. Those numbers for the end of season loot were probably artificially high. Do I have to like it? No, I don't have to like it, because this whole system change has really decreased what I earned in the game. And I've said this before, and I don't want to beat a dead horse about it, but through the years, every major change has equaled me taking, I don't want to say taking, because I've never really taken anything out of the game. Okay, everything's just rolled back into the game for me, right? But I keep earning less. Okay, there's one idea I heard of on I think it was After Sound, and he was doing a video. I was watching his video the other day, and the comment was basically a person saying, we got in, most of us, like I got in during the bull run, right? And things were expensive, okay? So that proves that people will get in and buy expensive things if they like the game and they like where it's heading and they like what's going on. And he was trying to extrapolate out if, we get to the point of the new player experience and bringing new players in, which is the whole goal and everything. Well, I think that balloons out as well. My answer on that, and I bring this up, is because at that point, everything was on fire. I mean, prices were up, people were making money, I was enjoying playing the game. And I point that out because at this point, I don't really enjoy the game. And I'm not trying to belittle the game. I'm just trying to make some of what I put in investment back out of the game. And I'm not trying to dog anybody. I think the change they made here needed to be made. But overall, I'm making far less out of the game than what I have in the past. Next up, let's take a look at a comment by a viewer. This is off of my last video where I posed the question why myself and a lot of other people are seeing that their accounts, which are primarily bronze, silver, gold, are placing a lot higher than what they have in the past. Okay, this leads to a lot of what I see as detrimental effect on what I'm getting out of the game. In other words, I'm playing a gold deck, but other people have reported to me silver decks, and I have my secondary account as a silver deck, are playing in diamond now. Okay, and obviously while that secondary account was primarily made to be a silver account because that's the level summoners it has on it, it has a low end amount of SPS staked on it. And I was amazed that it made it into diamond. So I was puzzled over that. And I posed the question why this was happening. So Phoenix, shout out to Phoenix, had put this comment in, and I thought that it explained it very, very well. If you have any numbers or anything to combat what he is saying here, please leave it in the comments. And I'd like to look at this and make sure we've got the proper story on this. But either way, let me read what he has to say, he or she. Your rank is essentially balancing your position compared to other players. The cards and their levels are only a part of the equation. Using some really rough but easy math, if there were 1,000 players top to bottom, the top 20% would be champ. Next 20% would be diamond, then 20% in gold, 20% in silver, and 20% in bronze. So if you feel you're higher than your deck should reach, it means that most people around your rank are also playing with underlevel cards. These changes are fresh, and the players are essentially still used to cards being designated to specific tiers and leagues. So they were comparing their cards to the league they were in, not the competition they were facing. You are in diamond because your deck is roughly in the top 40% of decks being played in wild. Now this amazes me, okay? Not so much that I don't even have a max gold deck. I would say I have a medium level gold deck. That doesn't really surprise me because I have a lot of money put into those cards, right, in SPS. What does surprise me is my silver level deck or my secondary account that just has like stray cards in it. Why it's in diamond. I I'm not questioning what he says or she says here, but I'm saying that it amazes me that an account with extra cards and level 4 rare summoners on it is in the top 40% of decks in WoW. Okay. It's a completely different story in Modern. Some champ decks are having a hard time even reaching Champ League because more than 20% of the players in Modern are playing with champion level decks, which means some of them have to fall outside of the 20% to keep the balance. Basically, you are higher than you think you should be because the competition in Wild is weak and Modern is extremely difficult to move up in because the competition is strong. Okay. So with that said, that's good information. I'm still taking it in and everything, and we're still seeing how all the after effects of the big changes have played out. Obviously, Matt also said that, hey, changes are still inbound. They're pulling the data. I'm just speechless. I mean, I've been playing for 3 years now, which isn't as much as some of you, and I know that a lot of players on Discord, especially the higher end ones, are always hardliners. If you don't like it, get out. I would like to feel that my $10,000 in the game or whatever it is around there is worth something. And I would like to feel that I should be able to, with those cards I have and that amount of SPS, be able to play, have fun, and draw some rewards out of it, because the game, at that point was billed as play to earn. It's not so much anymore. It's basically pay to pay some more. So either way, there's a lot of changes going on, and please leave your comments, what you think about the changes inbound, what you plan on doing, whether you're going to make any big changes. I'm not going to make any big changes. I mean, I've already got so much money soaked into the game that I've got to let it keep playing. At this point in time, I'm making, it fluctuates between 1 and 1.7 SPS per match. That's before any win streaks, right? 1 to 1.6, probably an average of 1.2 or something like that. I have about a 50% win rate, if that, so it's making about 12 SPS per day. That's before I pay my 35% to Archmage. It's kind of looking like I'm going to get around 40,000 end of season loot, between 20 and 25,000, between 40 and 50,000 somewhere into season loot. That looks somewhere like it'll get me 10 master draws and 5 or 6 elite draws, at the end of the day, the changes have been made, and we just got to roll with it, right? We can express to the team how we feel about it. Whether they care or not, I don't know. I would hope they would, since we're the money spenders in the game. But with that said, this has been Bronze Dragon. Let me know in the comments what you think. And I hope everyone on your side is happy and healthy. And I will see you on the flip side.